Dude, this is external power system again. This is borrowed power again. No. Oh, we survived for one patch, man. Why couldn't we last for more? You may or may not know that we have had some data mined gems on the 1007 server that people have been calling them shards domination. Now, I haven't read all of it. I just kind of know what they are slightly, but I will go into it in a second. The thing is, shards domination was not a popular system that was introduced in Shadowlands. I would be surprised if this is exactly shards of domination, but I think it warrants a fair reaction to it because shards of domination was just an egregious system, such a poorly implemented system, such an atrocious system when I don't remember what they've called it. Oh, but this is just like tier sets. No, they're not like tier sets. Okay, listen. This is not shards domination. I'm not gonna be Shadowlands biased here, but I will be looking at this with a critical eye. So, let's see what we know so far. A new mysterious type of gem has been data mined on the patch 1007 PTR, Primordial Stone Gems. While absent from the patch notes, we've data mined the number of interesting effects these gems provide. Based on the global strings, these gems will only fit into primordial sockets found on specific pieces of gear. One of the new items data mined in today's patch 1007 build is Onyx Amulet, which comes with 3 new sockets. Okay, I thought it was three sockets. Dude, this is external power system again. This is borrowed power again. No. Oh, we survived for one patch, man. Why couldn't we last for more? Oh, actually, we couldn't even last for a whole patch, because if you think about it, 10.0 is still encompassing 10.05 and 10.07. But it was close, man. It was this close to not have any type of borrowed power. But I guess we can start to like dilute system and exactly come to a conclusion like aren't normal gems borrowed power then? Aren't like enchants? This is a lot of power baked into stuff that does not. So we're getting into the territory of like how much is gear actual borrowed power when it comes to all of this stuff. All right, so what are some of the effects? Cold Frost Stone. Gain frost armor every 20 seconds, absorbing damage and slowing melee attacks. I mean, isn't this kind of like the same frost shard gem in Shadowlands that we had? What was it called? It was Blizz for tanks when it came out. Deluging Water Stones. Abilities can drench a nearby ally in restorative waters, healing over time. Well, okay. Well, don't have actual numbers though. Desirous Bloodstone. Dealing damage can drain life from enemies. Dealing shadow. Okay. So all of these have effects, but we don't have actual numbers set to them because they could be either really good or really bad. So it kind of depends on the numbers. I kind of hope that these numbers would be pretty tiny so that they're a nice addition. Maybe they're slightly better than the normal gems, but if they're too strong, then it's gonna be mandatory, or you know, mandatory in the sense that players will feel incentivized to actually go out of their way and farm them. Fire damage from your primordial stones is increased by 60% and now considered chaos. Does this have anything to do with Destro Warlocks? Isn't Destro Warlocks mastery increasing chaos damage? And we have fire damage, we have frost damage, we have what I can imagine is arcane damage. Dealing magic damage can fire arcane missiles for each kind of magic you've used in the past 20 seconds. So I assume this is like multiple magic types of. All right. Okay. So now that we have the hindsight of knowing exactly how the Shadowlands shards domination were, and I guess in a sense they were not the worst things ever to come to the game. But the acquisition was actually horrendous because you had to go into the raid. You had to first loot the items. You had to have the items because you can either loot the item that doesn't have a shard slot, or you can loot the item that does have a shard slot. You then have to loot the shard itself, and then you had to upgrade it. Now we don't know if there's any upgrade that can be done to any of these. We only know the shards themselves, the stones rather. An amulet, a finger with 3 sockets. Now, would it have 3 stone sockets for these primordial stones, or is it like 2 normal sockets and 1 stone socket? How many of them can we equip? Unique equipped. It doesn't feel like the tooltip has a unique set, because some of these items, when for instance like Shadowlands Legendary, whenever you can equip them, you have like a unique Shadowlands Legendary equip type item. So basically the items are boxed or baked or put into a bucket of this type of item. You can only have like one of these types of items. Okay, for the longest time in Shadowlands we can only have like one legendary. Are we going to have like unlimited amounts? Is the gear that needs to that has to have these socketed in going to be regular gear? Do we need to create those sockets with items? We already have, you know, the vendor next to the vault that can let you buy sockets and put sockets into gear and stuff like that. Oh my god, Shards Domination. Is this the Soto tier set that we're gonna have in the next 10.07 patch? Maybe it's just a testing ground for more interesting items. And if it's just for more interesting items, I guess that's fine. What do you guys think? Let us know.
Wait a minute.
Oh shit.
So what you're saying is this is borrowed power?
Yes. I mean, it's as much, this is weird because it's as much borrowed power as weapons and trinkets and rings are.
Yeah. So I think like we can make a even if we don't know shit about this is all pure speculation. But even if it's gonna be borrowed power, it's the good kind of borrowed power because your class still works without them. Our major problem with the borrowed power philosophy they had like for the last 3 expansions was that your class was made incomplete in order for the borrowed power to complete it. That was like basically that was the Legion artifact, that was the Azerite traits, and that was the legendaries and fucking Covenant bullshit soup.
But what about the Shards of Domination? That the classes, they just they obviously overpowered a lot of classes.
Yes, that's different. But I think that you pointed out correctly. The problem with shards wasn't that they were boring, sure, but they were like okay,
the acquisition was
the problem.
Part.
Yeah, that was the thing. So if they, from what I can see here, they don't complement a class or spec in any way. They have bonuses. That's a good thing.
It's quite a few of them though.
Yeah, it's a lot of them, and we don't know yet. It's like pure speculative things right now. It can be something that is baked into jewel crafting or something. It can be,
you know what, this could actually be really cool because we've been talking about gear being boring and stat sticks, right? But if we have like they really have to not be overpowered. They really not have to be like 5% per gem or something like that.
They don't have a good track record for that.
Yeah, I know that's what I'm worried about because otherwise, because if it's like overpowered, it has to be mandatory. People feel like, oh man, but I could be doing 5k more DPS if I had the right shards.
People will still run for them.
So the implementation is actually really important because if it becomes an egregious system where you have a 5% chance of looting the first one, 4.5 the next one, and then your best one is the 20th you ever loot or something like that.
Yeah, this is if you look on the forums, if you look on Reddit and stuff, like everybody is like super overreacting onto this datamined stuff that is like, oh my god, they're going back to the borrowed power, it's gonna be Shards of Domination all over again and shit like that. Like people just overreact for this, and you know it's granted because
it's entertaining.
Yeah,
you know?
it's granted, but let's just calm the titties here for a minute and just look at what it is. Now, if we break down what borrowed power is, if you look at your tier set, at your, I don't know, your torch,
even your gear,
yeah, your trinket, your torch or whatever, your icon, those are all borrowed powers. But guess what? They just add to your already working spec or class. This is what the point I was trying to make.
We can.
So yeah, Shards of Domination is something that this can be compared to. However, we don't have numbers, we don't have any details on how they're gonna work, how they're gonna be implemented, how you're gonna acquire them, are they going to be gated. So I think it's like just okay, it's nice to speculate, but I have a strong feeling they won't go that route again. They got burned so bad. I mean, remember they introduced the Shards of Domination during the 9.1 patch, I believe, when there was the whole scandal. Everything was like everything blew up in their face. I don't think they want to remember any of that shit.
Yeah, no, it's very likely that it's not gonna be the case because, and I think outrageous opinions and outrageous content. I think it's fine to this in the sense that we kind of want to nail it home. Like, listen, guys, we don't want this again. You probably don't have it planned to be like, you know, Shards of Domination in Shadowlands, but just to be sure, let us point out once again that, listen, this was a time in our history where these were poop.
Yeah, indeed. So just calm down for now, okay? Calm down. It's fine. All right, bye.
Bye.
I've been loving it then, I still love it now. Still, I play WoW. Still, I play WoW. Getting better every day, let me show you how. Cause still, I play WoW. Still, I play WoW. It's getting harder to stay, but at the end of the day, it's a guilty pleasure, so just log in and play. Whether it's classic or retail, I'ma do a /bow. Still, I play WoW.